I started to just out of nowhere have heart pain, like stabbing, throbbing pain in my heart. And I have pretty bad heartburn, and I was like, oh my God, is this heartburn? Like, or am I having a panic attack? What is this? I've never had a panic attack in my life. And I called Eric in after about a couple minutes, and I was like, something doesn't feel right. I said, I know my body, and I've never had this before, and I don't feel like something's right. We got in the car and we went to Milwaukee, and they ran a stat EKG on me, and I could tell right away everybody's faces were just like, this isn't good. And I was like, tell me, like, what's going on? What is happening to me? And they had the cardiologist come in, and he's like, I think you're having a heart attack. A heart attack? I was like, I'm 31 years old. No, this doesn't happen. I was just worried about my baby. They didn't have any way to monitor her at Milwaukee or in the ambulance. So I was very worried about her heart rate and, everything like that. I am a NICU nurse, so I take care of babies all the time, and I see situations like this happen. And I was concerned about her. That was my main focus. I just wanted her okay. Being a mother already, I was like, my kids are my everything. So the cardiologist was trying to put a stent in my wrist all the way up to my heart, and was trying to keep that artery from dissecting. It just kept tearing apart, and she couldn't save it. She said, if I keep trying, you're gonna have no artery left. So she said, we can't do this, and the only other option is open heart surgery. I've seen situations like this before, and I don't want her to go through what I'm going through. And she's like, I can't take her. She said, I have to collaborate with the other doctors to see what's best for you. And at that point I was like, take her, let her live. I had made that decision already in my head that it could be her. And that was a very, very hard decision to make, knowing that I had kids at home, but I wanted my daughter to have a life. So I begged them. I said, you have to get my husband back here. I have to see somebody. They let him peek his head underneath my drape for like maybe a minute or two. And what do you say to somebody that you've been with for 12 plus years and you have 2 kids with? And you don't know if you're gonna make it. And I just told him I loved him, and tell the boys I love them, and we already knew the baby's name. She was gonna be Sunny. And that's all I could do. I couldn't, my hands were tied. I just prayed that I woke up. That's all I cared about, is I need to wake up from this. They got about an hour and a half into my surgery, and then Sunny's heart rate started to drop. So they knew they had to get her out. So my doctor did an emergency C-section, and she had her out in 22 seconds. Yeah. She needed to be intubated. She was not breathing on her own. And lots of help when she came out. I woke up in the ICU the next morning around 6:30. And the first thing I saw was her picture on the wall of my room. She's here, she's alive, and I'm like, we both made it through. I had a full coronary artery dissection, so they had taken a full vein out of my right leg and made me a new artery with it. They think that my hormones attacked my coronary artery and destroyed it. Listen to your body, that it can happen to anybody, and it can happen at any point in time, and you need to know your body and listen to it and get help if you need to. So I am very lucky. Not the fact that both of us are alive and well and fine. We're both fine. There's nothing going on besides me taking medication for a year. I can do that. I can handle that. She's perfectly healthy. She's perfectly fine. And I couldn't ask for any better outcome than that.